This was probably early 2000s. The executives moved down to the 23rd floor. That was refurbished for them. And this became known as the Tribune Conference Center. Because it got to the point where we had difficult times. We had so many people and we was in a meeting space. So, which happens now. But so they developed all these offices into conference rooms. Or even for our photographers, we had to get, it was unbelievable. All of a sudden it's like, what? You know, I mean, later just said, we didn't understand until recently this was a shared building. You know, I mean, this is as much ours as it is theirs. So it was pretty nasty.
Yes, I work for the newspaper as a staff photographer, and we're working on a short documentary about the whole movement. I've been doing this for a while.
Okay, and when and where will that appear? We won't see today that will be in your documentary?
Unfortunately, probably not, because I didn't have that much access.
Okay.
Because we don't own the building anymore. So
Is there still a multimedia? Would they have slides or?
this will just be video.
Oh.
And probably some print story.
Okay, well, that's great. That's great. Okay, so we're up here on the executive floor. This would have housed the execs and even editorial back in the day when the tower opened. They also had a reference library here for the editorial staff. It was a multi-floored reference area. Obviously, nothing was digital back then. And then this was eventually turned into offices for the execs. And of course, back in the day, everybody had a secretary. So there would have been secretaries' offices. So some of the smaller offices you see up here would have been probably for secretaries back in the day. Again, this is the least decorative of the offices. So we're going to be going to some that are a little more elaborate. Let's head down the hall. Some of these employees have never been up here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Patterson left the company in 1925 to form a newspaper out in New York. Yeah, but this was his room. Much of it looking like it did when he moved in 1925. The only difference would be this table here. Back when I was still working here, they purchased this table, but they didn't know if they could get it up here. So they had me make a foam board panel of just this light brown wood to see if they could negotiate the stairways or if it would have to come through a window. Usually larger objects that have to be brought into the tower, the screen, the movie screen in Campbell Hall, that would have had to come through a window because you just can't get those big things into the tower. The boiler room down in the basement has a 7-story shaft, no elevator, but if you're down in the boiler room and you look up, you see a large hole in the wall and it goes all the way up to the loading dock, and there's some clamshell doors that open, and that's how they got equipment like big boilers and things down to the boiler room. So a lot of people did not like the Tribune or their executives. So they had a couple safe rooms here at the tower where they could go if somebody got past whatever security they had at the time. They had panels in the walls where you didn't know it was a panel. You open that. Not a safe room, but a closet.
Yeah.
But I'll show you where the safe room was for Captain Patterson. It's right over there. Again, remember, there would have been no doorknob on this door we see over here. And Patterson would have pressed the button if he thought he was going to be harmed behind the curtain here. That button was gone. And we're open to a little closet here. And you'll have to go in one at a time, but go all the way back and look up to your left through a hole in the wall, and you'll see a very narrow staircase that led to a safe room on the next level. There was no exit from that room. It was bare brick. There was a small fenced-in area, so if someone came at him with a knife or a baseball bat, they couldn't get to him. But if obviously they had a gun, it was kind of like a chicken wire fence. In a younger and thinner day, I crawled up there. And it was kind of interesting. Chris?
We took some pictures up there last week.
Yeah. John O'Neill took them. You know John. Maybe if you want to use that for the documentary, it might be interesting. Yeah, we just put a chair in there and stood on it and boosted ourselves up there. Yeah, I don't believe they ever used it. You know, back in the day, even up until the time I was working here, there was always one security officer that had a weapon, particularly chauffeurs for managing people like that.
Yeah, you can do it.
This is better.
You can do it. See, once you come up these steps.
It's very steep. Ew, this is like gross. Wow. Crazy. Okay. I'll take a picture to show you. It's like a crawl space. Something exciting.
The windows are locked. At least there's windows up here.
Okay, now we have to figure out how to come down. Yeah, sure.
Do you want to hand down your camera before you jump?
So the colonel was active here at the paper until 1955, until his death. His desk would have been right over here where I'm going to be standing, sort of a raised desk. He wanted to be higher than the people that were looking up at him, visitors. In the late afternoon, the sun would have been at his back, shining in the visitors' eyes, and probably creating a halo around his head. Some of the decorations on the ceiling apply to his time at Yale University. The key and scroll probably indicative of the fraternity he was in. We've got a cannon over here. He was an artillery officer. An officer's helmet. I'm not sure about the Magic Genie. And there were more secret doors in here. If you could push on the piano on that door, there's
Yeah.
behind it. There. Tell us what's in there.
That is right.
Yes. That was just, it was just renovated. It had more of a 1940s look to it up until a couple of years ago, I think. Is this Laborious? Yeah. Shortly. Now, when Sam Zell bought the company, he used this room for recreation.
Whoa.
That's what you see, like, you can actually see the building.